Hello and welcome to my presentation. So I chose to do the Allentown Art Museum. I called this Colors and Light because that is the name of the programming that they currently have for their education department. The Allentown Art Museum was founded during the Great Depression by Walter Emerson Baum. It is a huge part of Allentown's, life and culture, and it's grown quite a bit since its founding. It's located at 31 North Fifth Street in Allentown. Here we have the quote from Palmieri Transportation, as well as my correspondence with Genesis, who is the lead educator and department administrator over at the museum. So for my budget, I have the admission is $8 per child. So for a group of 15, that would be $120. The art making fee is separate, and that is $5 per child, which is an additional 75. The transportation is the largest part of the budget at $716.30. Ideally, I would have preferred to do a smaller van, considering the group would be pretty tiny. I think it would be a little bit more appropriate for the age group as well, but unfortunately, they didn't have any available for that date, so we had to go with a full-size bus. The food would consist of a brown paper bag lunch. It would be a sun butter and jelly sandwich, sun chips, oranges, and a water bottle. So all of this meets the CACFP requirements for a meal. And at Walmart, it would come to $44.28. The pre and post visit art materials, I allotted $50. I truthfully don't even think I would need that much. Everything that I had planned for would be things that we would likely already have on hand. So that would be acrylic or tempera paint, white glue, tape. Everything else would be sourced by asking parents to provide recyclable materials, like recycled materials, fabrics, textiles that they no longer use. And then it would also be natural materials as well. So the total here is $1,005.58. Truthfully, I work for a pre-K counts program, and we do not charge families. This is something, it is expected that we provide field trips for the children, and that these experiences are really important to their experience in pre-K as a whole. So this would be planned from the get-go to be taken from the grant money that we receive. So this was planned for February 20th, 2026. I planned for 15 children, three teachers. So we have three groups of five, two chaperones. I figure statistically we're going to have at least one BHT with us and one director. I think it's important to point out that the museum does not charge for adults and that they are all welcome to come. The only ones who are being charged for admission would be for the children. The roles of the chaperones here would be one would be particularly responsible for setting up lunches and cleaning up the cafeteria area afterwards. And the second would be for assisting teachers with communication, answering any questions that the students may have, and helping with the arts experience. I think that it is really important, really, really important to point out that chaperones at no point will ever count towards ratio or supervision, and that they are exclusively there just to be an extra set of hands, and an extra set of eyes, but not responsible eyes. Their supervision, they don't have a supervision group that they're responsible for. That is the teachers and the staff's role exclusively. For our schedule, we would be leaving from the center at 9:30. Takes about half an hour to get there to the museum. So we would arrive around 10. Immediately, we're doing bathroom breaks. That was a long ride. They all, I'm sure, had water and milk for breakfast and they need to go potty. After that would be the guided tour. Genesis indicated that it would be about 45 minutes, but I would choose to add a little bit of padding there as far as time goes. So we would be eating lunch around 11:30. After that would be the arts experience in the studio. And then after that, again, bathroom breaks. We've got little bladders. They're going to need to go again. After that, I would be having them break into smaller groups. So those little five student groups with the teachers, and I would ask the teachers to kind of be mindful about where the children seem to be more drawn to, what they're very curious about, and let them go back there. Maybe allow them to have some quiet time to sketch or just to observe. Around 2 o'clock, we would be leaving, and we would be arriving back at the center at 2:30. My first pre-visit activity for me would be a huge as far as classroom management goes, is to set the expectations early and review them often. So this would be an opportunity to display a bunch of the artwork that the students have made throughout the year up to this point. I would ask them to dictate to me the materials that they used, what they were trying to accomplish, what they were creating. And that way they kind of get to experience being in the role of the artist who is on display, who everyone else is coming to see. And they would also be given, clipboards so they can choose to sketch different things. The art that they're there to observe. So we would talk about how there's no running. We use our walking feet. We use quiet voices. We don't touch the art. When we're there to look with our eyes and not touch with our hands. The second activity would be introducing the stained glass windows, the idea of them as an art form. They have beautiful stained glass windows, Tiffany windows at the museum. There's some pictures of them at the end. And I think it's probably my favorite part of the museum, honestly. So here we would just need to mix acrylic or tempera paint with white glue, and then you would tape off sections. And this would be kind of just there for children to use. This can be on a window or on a glass door. And the kids would be allowed to create their own Tiffany window. One of my favorite parts of the second floor of the studio and the museum was the sensory hall. So, as an answer to that, to kind of bring some of the museum home with us, I would love to create a sensory wall. And this is what I mean when I said that I would be using recycled materials, things that are donated from parents. Here we have different textures, fabrics, cardboard, wood. There's turf there. There's some like greenery. All of that. And this would be something that would be made available in the Cozy Cube or in the library. And this would be available to children permanently. This wouldn't be something that would be moved from the classroom once it's there. My second activity is one of my favorite books, The Dot. I think after all of this art talk and reviewing it and being there and being so excited about it, I think these little artists would need a place to start, and The Dot is just such a wonderful place. So after reading The Dot together as a group, I would offer a space and an opportunity to make their own dots. So I would have paint out, markers, different fabrics, scrapbooking materials, and kind of let them explore and scissors and let them create their own dots. So overall, this was such a fun experience. I had such a blast. If you see here up on the left is a weaving experience for children to use with different like yarns and fabrics and all different kinds of things. That was my daughter trying to weave this really neat thick purple yarn. And then down here on the bottom is my husband and my daughter in the art studio. We were working on swipe art. So we were using bingo daughters and squeegees. My husband, who is not particularly artistic, he would tell you, did a great job. He had such a blast. And then my daughter over here on the left was using a couple different techniques that I hadn't seen before, and she was having a great time exploring. Here's a few more pictures. So in the center here is the art studio. Those are some of the examples that they had. All these amazing materials just open for anybody to use. They had more information about some different artists that do this this specific type of art. That's on the left is my daughter and I in front of the Tiffany windows. I really cannot get over. I can't really express, and the pictures really don't do it justice how beautiful it was. They have different lighting at different times, so you can see what the windows look like with no light behind them, with light in front of them, with no light at all. I mean, it was just incredible. And we sat for quite a while observing them. And then over here on the left is that the weaving experience that I was talking about before. They had all these different yarns available in the picture frames. All right, and that's it. Thank you so much.